Welcome to Sib Spot. Today's Reddit stories are from Am I the A-Hole? Story 1 is by Usual Antelope 7315. Am I the a-hole for telling my mom she was wrong to leave me during my labor? I'm a 23-year-old female and I recently gave birth to a baby boy. My relationship with his father wasn't exactly a healthy one, so it was mutually decided that he wouldn't take a personal role in raising his baby. Instead, I'd raise him with my mom and dad, 58 female and 60 male. My parents had never approved of the relationship and certainly didn't like my boyfriend. Despite that, upon learning about my pregnancy, they were absolutely amazing and provided me with a lot of support. Naturally, I asked my mom if she would be my birthing partner, and she happily accepted. As the months went on, however, my mom started becoming distant with me. She was still wonderful and helped me so much with things like setting up a nursery in the spare room, rubbing my back when it ached, and providing advice, but something seemed colder about her. Upon asking my dad, he told me I was being silly and that my mom was fine. One night, I came downstairs only to see my mom crying on the sofa and clutching one of the soft toys we'd bought for me as a baby. She saw me and yelled at me to go upstairs and leave her be. She expressed that she still wanted to be my birthing partner for the next day, and I perhaps stupidly glossed over it. Soon enough, the day came that I went into labor. I was concerned about my mom's behavior, but I wanted her with me, and she came into the delivery room. Maybe an hour into my labor, my mom said she felt stifled and needed to get some air. She was gone for over an hour, and one of the nurses went to try to find her, but couldn't. I rang her and told her she was wrong to have left me, and she screamed at me that my labor was my problem, not hers. I hung up and basically spent the rest of my labor in tears. My dad came as fast as he could from work and was furious at my mom. Some extended family members are now saying that I was cruel to my mom for expecting her to be there for the whole birth, and they agreed with her that I shouldn't expect her to fix my problem. I didn't agree, but now I'm feeling guilty. Did I expect too much of my mom? It's really easy for people to say they'll do something. They want to be supportive, they want to be helpful, and over time they realize the amount of responsibility is going to crush them. So I feel like over time she realized what she'd gotten herself into by agreeing to all of this. And her crying over your stuffed toy when you came downstairs that one day just indicates that she's seeing that you are no longer her baby girl. You're a full-grown adult woman who's going to have responsibilities and needs, and she is going to have to be the one that takes care of you and all of that. She's doing her part, but she has a right to be upset because she's retired now, and now her life is going to have to be all about raising your child with you. It's like she's become the father to your baby, and that can be overwhelming and annoying to some people. Down in the comments by Pistol Rose. Yeah, if my daughter were in the OP situation, I'd step up and can't imagine leaving her in the middle of labor, but I would have a lot of mixed feelings. There's also the way OP says, I'd raise him with my mom and dad, not with help from my mom and dad. Maybe I'm putting way too much import on syntax, but there's a lot implied there. And underneath that by Old Mate's Slave. Yes, I picked up that too. Feels like OP's expecting her parents to step up into the father role. This is too high of an expectation to put on her parents for her life decision. She's a single parent. Her own parents are support, not de facto dad. Try not to take it personally. She obviously loves you very much and wants to be there in any way that she can with you. You guys are going to have some emotional moments coming up. You're going to have lots of stresses in your life, but they're being supportive. Try not to hold it against her if she gets snappy, because a lot of people in her situation would be, and she may have something else going on. You never know. And until people can read people's minds, you never know exactly what's going on with them. Our next story is by WasteAd8081. Am I the a-hole for refusing to stay somewhere else so my mom can have intimate time? I'm a 19 female and it's my birthday on Saturday, and I plan to go out drinking and come home to sleep after I was done. My mom, who's a 43 female, came into my room the other day asking me if I could go and stay somewhere else on that Saturday night so she can have her man over to do the deed. I was obviously upset by this and told her how I plan on coming home and I wanted to sleep in my own bed. She then persisted that I go stay with a friend because she didn't want to have to go out to do whatever. My twin siblings would also be at the house, but they are 5 and staying with my grandparents. I said it is not my problem that she wants someone to stay over and I will be coming home to sleep. She then told me that she would be loud and make sure to wake me up to hear and make it clear she did not want me home. This could have been a joke, but either way, it was not normal to say that to your child, right? For context, I've been hearing my mom have intimate time with her boyfriends at the time since I was around 10 years old and had complained multiple times at hearing this. I obviously don't want to come home and hear my mom having intimate time, but I also want to sleep at home and it's my bed and I too live there. We've been going back and forth on how I'm going to stay somewhere else, but I feel like she is wrong for asking me to leave in the first place. I don't know what to think. I understand where she's coming from, but still? Edit, I feel like I need to clear some things up. First of all, I do not pay rent because I simply cannot afford to. I live in the UK, so there's no underage drinking. I cannot simply just move out, as that is easier said than done. And when I go to university next year, I do plan on leaving, and my mom also agrees that then will be the best time for me to move. I am still full-time education and have a part-time job, so let's not be harsh on the fact that I still live with my mom. I understand the privilege of living at home, rent-free, but it doesn't take away from the fact that my own mom wants me to get out of the house so she can bump with someone. Some of you asked about the boyfriend, and yes, he does have his own home. It's just in another city, and I've personally never met him. It makes sense for her to ask you to go because you've expressed interest in not hearing it in the past. I don't really think you're an a-hole for wanting to sleep home, especially on your birthday. Like, you go out drinking, you want to come home and sleep in your bed. I'm surprised she's not like, it's your birthday, I will do what you want. We'll go somewhere else for the night so you can come home and sleep. I think she's a bit of an a-hole for saying that she wants that on your birthday. Like, she could rent a hotel for a night if she wanted to. That being said, there were a lot of people in the comments who were like, 19's too old to be living at home. It's actually not, especially not in today's age. More and more people are staying at home with their parents because the cost of living is way too high. You can have jobs and work 24/7 and still not be able to afford a place to stay right now. A part-time job definitely won't do it, and if you're going to school, you only have time for a part-time job. I remember when I was working 4 jobs and still could barely afford to pay rent, and I was paying very little for rent. So it's disingenuous to be going after the people for staying at home when they're 19. Especially when they're still in school. Sounds a bit to me like she's treating you like a college roommate, but because you've complained about it in the past, it's not unreasonable for her to approach you and say, hey, can you stay somewhere else if you don't want to hear it? But you go home and sleep, you just can't complain about it. Down in the comments by Mary Yuchu. Not the a-hole, and the number of people saying you are an a-hole and you should just leave the house or something prove how detached from reality these people are. You literally hear your mom having intimate time since you're 10, and she literally threatens you with being loud during the deed, especially when you complained about it. A kid shouldn't have to hear their parents being intimate, especially when it's with multiple strangers. It can be traumatizing. She can still bump with whoever she wants. The kids just don't need to hear it. FFS. That's true, she does have other little ones at home. I don't think the daughter's going to be doing a whole lot of complaining now that she's 19, because that's what people do. Our next story is by Important Spirit 887. Am I the a-hole for kicking out my sister's friend over melatonin? This story, the OP had several updates before they actually shared the story, because they got quite a mix of responses to this. First thing I want to address, she does now in fact have a safe place to go that is away from my children. Second, I agree, I could have done things differently. But upon watching the video of when I asked her, I was very calm, didn't have a raised voice, and did not come off as treating her badly at all. To those saying you can't be angry while calm, yes you can. Third, I was very angry about the giving of melatonin, but now that I've calmed down a bit, what I'm most angry about is giving my child something to try to sedate her so that she, Sam, could sleep longer because she didn't feel good and is tired. Which I do in fact have her admitting on camera. She has also told us no to babysitting multiple times, which is okay. I do not use it as a tool to control, I promise. She is able to come and go as she pleases. If she needs money or anything, I didn't hesitate to help out because of my own personal upbringing. Sam does in fact know that it's a nighttime only thing recommended by my child's doctor, as she recently watched my child overnight, for the first time ever, while my husband and I took one night away. Not a weekend, not a week, not even a full 24 hours, just one night. Fourth, looking back through our footage, I have caught more instances of this on times when I completely left home with her watching the kids. I have 2 of the tamest children. Do they get wild occasionally? Yes, but no matter what, my child should not have been given anything under the thought it would help induce sedation. Fifth, I had full hands walking out of the house today and just asked her to lock and turn the alarm on. I didn't think it was a hard task, but I take responsibility for not doing it myself. Sixth, somewhere I explained in a comment that when I came in to use the restroom, I was angry about the door situation. I originally assumed that they were watching a movie or something in her room, which they have done plenty of times. I should have clarified that I didn't realize she was putting them to sleep until I watched the camera, and that when I came back home for the second time is when I actively caught her in the act of sleeping. When husband and I left this morning, we had fully woken her up and she was having a full conversation with us before we headed out the door. She was sitting on our couch. And finally, they get to the story. I'm sorry this is long and confusing. I was angry and in a fight or flight when writing this, mostly worried about my child. For things I have done wrong, I will accept responsibility, 100%, but I will also not put my children's health and safety at risk, ever. Hi there. I apologize in advance because I'm so angry I'm shaking. I'm a 26 female and my husband is 28. We took in one of my little sister's friends who's a female 18, just shy of 19. Let's call her Sam. Sam has been with us for almost a full year and we've been taking care of her. We also have 2 small children, 3 and 1, who live in our home as well. We occasionally ask Sam to watch the kids for us when we have errands to run or want a date night, etc. She graduated high school in May and did not have a job over the summer, nor paid any sort of bills, so we didn't think it was a huge ask, considering we pay for everything. Cell phone, shoes, clothes, anything she needs. We just finally trusted Sam enough to watch the kids overnight so we could go out of town to celebrate our anniversary. Everything went fine and we returned home with no issues, or so we thought. Today, I had some errands to run while my husband went to work, so I asked Sam to watch the kids for about 2 hours last evening. Sam is in no way a morning person, and it's very apparent. For reference, this is at 7:12 a.m. The kids had just gotten up at 6:30. This morning when she got up to watch the kids, she instantly fell asleep back on the couch. Husband and I had to wake her up before we left. We have a car in the shop currently, so I was dropping him off, then doing my errands. I had to use the restroom after dropping him off, so I stopped back home to find my house door unlocked and the home alarm not turned on. Sam was in the room with the kids, sleeping. This was at 7:50 a.m. She had no idea I had ever entered the house. I was angry, but got back into my car to go do what I needed to do. While I was driving, I had a nagging feeling to check the living room camera from after the time we left. What I see on camera horrified me as a mom. Not even 10 minutes after we left, Sam goes to the spot we keep the children's melatonin. My child is autistic and takes it nightly, and proceeds to plop one into my child's mouth. I saw red. I sent the video to my husband to confirm what I saw, and he agreed. I also sent it to my mom to triple check. I fly home and go inside to confront her. She lies and lies to me until she tells me that she actually did do it. I told her that she needed to be out of my house today by 1 p.m., and she had a total meltdown. She gave me every reason in the book as to why she did it and freaked out that she has nowhere to go. I told a few people because I'm so upset that I'm crying. I had some people who agreed with me, but some saying I shouldn't kick her out since she has nowhere to go, making me feel horrible. So my question to you is, am I the a-hole for kicking her out over giving my child melatonin? First things first, I don't know why you're letting a friend stay at the house for this long without any prospects at all. She's literally just staying in your house 24/7. But you also are a bit of an a-hole because you're taking advantage of this girl who has nowhere else to go and has no place to live. You're getting free babysitting out of it. And yes, she's not paying any bills, and yes, you're buying her everything, but she's not your daughter. She doesn't have to work for you, and neither does your daughter, if that was the case, if you had your daughter watching the kids. On top of that, you give your child melatonin already, and melatonin is not a drug. It's a natural supplement that people take in order to regulate sleep and have a more natural circadian rhythm. So it's not a harmful thing that she can take and get sick off of. I don't think you should have kicked her out because you agreed to let her stay this long. You should tell her though, okay, you gave my child something I didn't authorize you to give them to make them go to sleep so that you could sleep. I don't trust you around my kids anymore. So plan to be moving out soon. You have to get a job, you have to start saving, and then a couple months down the line, you're out. Pretty much because she lied to you. She lied, and then she said, okay, I did it. If you can't trust her in your home, then yes, she should be making preparations to move out. But I don't think you should have kicked her out. You should at least give her some time. That is currently where she lives, and she has nowhere else to go right now. And the comments on this were quite mixed. Down in the comments by Sanity Janity. Not the a-hole. 1. Sam dosed your child with medication to avoid having to actually care for the child. 2. Sam agreed to watch the children in the morning, but endangered them by sleeping. 3. Sam lied about dosing your children with medication. I don't blame you for being furious. Of course you were. Sam does apparently have the ability to go back to her mother's house. There's a lot of missing backstory here about why Sam refuses to live with her mother and why you guys have stepped up into a full parental role with her, paying for even her phone and clothes, and how much you do or do not rely on her for babysitting. All those things are interesting, but irrelevant. Sam has shown you who she is. She will medicate a child for quiet, and she will lie to you about it. She cannot stay in the home with the child. If her mother's house is a safe place, then she should return there. It's funny how you can have a stance on something, but you can still read this and be like, okay, I agree with them. I still think you shouldn't have removed her, but if she has a place to be returning home to, yes, she should go home. It's about time, but I think if you've stepped into this role, you really do know that her home life is not good and not a safe place for her to be living. And then underneath that, by Ashamed Town 2619, you're the a-hole. Giving your autistic child melatonin is crappy, and expecting a homeless teenager to think it's only okay at night when you do it is absurd. Don't take an at-risk kid and expect them to repay you by providing perfect childcare at 7 a.m. for free. I feel so sorry for this kid who has no real family and likely was desperate to please you and is now being kicked out of your home for not being a better parent than you are. I also feel sorry for the little ones, since they probably don't understand where their buddy Sam went, since massive changes are difficult for any kid, let alone one dealing with autism. See? Another good stance. Changes for any autistic child can be really difficult, and it depends. If she's been there for a very long time, this is going to be hard on your little kid. Our stories for today have come to a close. Until we meet again, have a marvelous day.